We're good. We're live.
We're good. Welcome, everybody. We'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the flag salute. There it is. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call.
Jody Thompson, board member.
Stephanie Smith, board member.
Jamie Bailey, board member.
Ryan Cristelli, board member.
Chris Nesmith, superintendent.
Julie Crawford, principal. Sunshine Ferry, principal. Candace Goldsmith, staff.
Eric Smith, staff.
Delaney Hansen, student representative.
Bernadette has asked to be excused this evening. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to excuse Bernadette Bauer from the meeting.
I'll second that.
There's been a motion made and seconded to excuse Bernadette Bauer from tonight's meeting. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of board meeting minutes for January 26, 2022.
I make a motion for the approval of board meeting minutes for January 26, 2022.
I'll second it.
There's been a motion made and seconded for the approval of board meeting minutes for January 26, 2022. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Letters.
We do have a retirement from our head cook, Kim Galander from our food services, and just really want to wish Kim the best. On that end, we also have now hired Peggy Tyner as our new food services head cook, and Peggy has stepped into that job in an emergency capacity this week. And we are 2 days in under Peggy's tenure as the head cook, and she has a complete total revamped menu and has just done an absolutely incredible job. I think there's a lot of positive feedback on our food coming out during lunch under Peggy's new leadership. And I think just like to take a moment to just really thank Peggy for the job. You know, and it's only Wednesday, but she's off to an incredible start.
Thank you. Consent agenda.
I will make a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion made and seconded for the approval of the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion items. Middle school report. I'm thinking it's Sunshine Perry under there, but my copy is cut off right there. Sunshine?
Yeah, you sure.
I need your help. Okay, here it is. There we go. Good to go now? Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. So the information that you're going to see tonight, we decided that what we were going to present to you is showing you our kids in action, basically showing you some activities and some ways that our students are showing mastery in their classes. One of our goals this year, or our overarching goal, when we met as a staff this summer, was high school readiness. And so we set some goals around high school readiness to get our middle schoolers ready for their path to high school. And so this presentation is basically about investing in people and programs to help kids succeed. And so that's a little bit of what you will see. And so I take each department and I show you some of our classes. I know not everybody knows all the classes that we have, and so I've divided it up into different classes. And so first we start with our ELA classes, and these are a couple of things that our teachers are using that students can use to show mastery. So Quill is a grammar program that students, and it's individualized. And so that's one of the most important things to know about Quill, is that it's individual based on each student's needs, and it targets the skills that they need. And then we have a teacher who also does cooking lessons with her students, where they have a mini cooking class after they have done a reading project, so that they cook something that has to do with the culture or the lesson that they've learned in their reading. So in our math class, we're introducing more and more hands-on real life activities. And so here's a couple of our students. Up in the upper left-hand corner, you can see a math lesson where students were doing area and perimeter in designing the floor plan of a house. So they got to design where they were going to put the furniture, and they had some criteria. And then after they did that, they had to figure out the area and perimeter of the house plans and the furniture and all that kind of stuff. And so using their math on some real world skills. The young lady at the desk, what you can't really see there is that desk that she's working on is a desk that you can write on with whiteboard, or it's a whiteboard desk with markers. So our students actually get to write on the desk and do their work right there with the teacher, sometimes on the other side, so they can work on stuff together. And then the gentleman is working on a large screen similar to what we have for the board meeting tonight, but students can go up and write directly on the screen with their finger, and then that screen can save so the teacher can share it with other students. And then just working in small groups. And so a variety of ways for our students to use their math skills in some real life lessons. And Agile Mind and Ready Math are a couple of the programs we use. Agile Mind we've been using for a little while in our algebra classes to get our students, with the help of Agile Mind, we've about doubled the number of students that go to the high school with their algebra credit already complete. So in our science classes, again, more and more hands-on activities and ways for students to show mastery. And so this is a variety of different activities that you see here. Students building things, students using their learning to create different investigations and models and that kind of thing. In the upper left-hand corner, you see Mr. Seberg with a student. They, after learning about the body and the different systems, one of the lessons that they had recently was hands-only CPR and the Heimlich maneuver. And so we have CPR mannequins, and our students learn some hands-only CPR and how why that works because of what they've learned with the body. And so you can see some of our microscopes, our virtual reality sets, and students working on different hands-on projects, taking their learning and creating things with them. In social studies, so here's some students doing some social studies. So they use it to create different art pieces. And then one of the things that you see up there is students creating terracotta warriors. And so one of the lessons in social studies is about China's terracotta warriors and how every warrior was different, even though there were thousands of them. And so each of our students had a chance to make their own terracotta warriors. And so again, I feel like I'm on repeat a little bit, but taking their learning and finding different ways to show their teacher that they've learned what it is that their teacher is hoping that they take or that they get out of the lesson. And so they can use it to draw, they can use clay, they can write a report. There's all kinds of different ways they can show their mastery. In 6th grade, our students take a STEAM wheel, and so they have quarter classes instead of semester, and they kind of cycle through them. And you'll see some of those in the pictures that I will show you. In 6th grade, STEAM, of course, meaning science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And so more and more of our classes are incorporating the STEAM ideas, and pre-engineering is one of them. And so our pre-engineering class, again, this is one where students are doing a lot of hands-on building. And you can see in the bottom right-hand corner there, that student is actually working on a search and rescue robot. He's building a search and rescue robot. And it's a lot of experimentation, taking the knowledge that he's learned and figuring out what works and what doesn't work. And so that's basically what all of this is students taking the knowledge that they've learned in science and math and creating different projects and figuring out whether or not it will work. In our leadership class, here's some activities our students are learning. One of the programs that our leadership students use is Character Strong. And this is, of course, Food Bowl and Martin Luther King Project and different projects that they are doing to honor the individuality of our students. In our agriculture class, you guys have heard a lot about our school garden. And so these are some pictures of, even in the winter time when our school garden isn't necessarily flourishing, they are still growing things. They just might be growing in the windows of our classrooms, and they're learning about soil and plants. And then here's one of our students with some of the crops that he helped pick. And then a group of our students out by our school garden. And our school garden impacts our kids in a variety of ways. And I'll show you how we use that, some of that learning in a different, with a different class. But again, our students taking what they've learned in the classroom and applying it to real life skills. And in this case, the real life skills meaning growing food to help feed people. And so here's one of the classes that they apply that to, our food science class. The ladies in the middle, in the food science class, they used what they learned about foods to create their own salad dressings. And so through the salad dressing that they created, and they had a chance to experiment and to try different things until they got a salad dressing that they liked. Of course, they were researching food, ingredients, that kind of thing. And then when they were done creating their salad dressings, they used the salad that had been grown in the school garden. They harvested the salad and the vegetables to have a salad day and eat it with their salad dressing that they had created. The bottom right-hand corner is our students over in the foods lab at the high school. We use, even though we're over at the middle school, we share some of the high school facilities, and those are students using the high school food labs to cook. And so this particular one was that they used the pumpkin seeds from the pumpkins that had been grown in the school garden, and they created pumpkin seed recipes and then baked their own pumpkin seeds and tried that out. So just a variety of things. Again, sound like a little bit of a broken record, but taking the learning and applying it in a variety of ways to show how that they can apply that. So choir and band, so some pictures of our choir and band students. And this is a little bit more maybe public program where students take what they've learned. And a lot of our students, especially our new choir and band students, don't realize how much math is involved in music. And they take all of that learning of their math skills, their engineering skills, and apply it to the music and perform it.
And Ms. Perry, what's the first year that students can take band in?
6th grade right now. Yep. So health and fitness is a little bit new at the middle school. Obviously, we've always had PE, but this year we have changed it up a bit to be more health and fitness. And so the best way to describe that in a short sentence would be whole child and whole person. Trying to teach our students not just about sports, but they learn sports skills, they learn different physical skills, but also health and nutrition and how they can take care of themselves long term. So they take the information that they learned in science, math, all of the core content, English and social studies, and they apply it to their health and fitness. And so this is just a few of those pictures where our students are applying those skills. I put the Snap Ed logo at the bottom there because we are teaming with the folks from the WSU Snap Ed nutrition program to come into our school and help teach our students some nutrition and cooking classes. And we've also sent our teachers to, along with the high school, sent some of our teachers to American Red Cross training to be CPR first aid trained and some other training. And our hope is to build on that and to offer all of our students certification in the babysitting course, so they would be certified in babysitting before they leave the middle school. Our art class this year has taken a little bit of a turn also. Our art class is now, and in the past we've had one, this year we have more art classes that Ms. Nybar leads and is CTE certified. And so again, bringing in all of those STEAM pieces into creating art and letting students have, teaching them the lessons of the art, but then giving them the individual opportunities to take that learning and make it their own and create their own things. I teased Miss Nybar and told her I was going to bring some paint and have you guys do some pendulum painting. And it gave her a little bit of shivers because it created such a mess in class, but the kids loved it. And so these are some clay projects that they've done. One of the things that the students in Miss Nybar do, their class is over at the high school, but then they bring that art over to the middle school and display it for everyone to see. And they enjoy their art being displayed, and we love sharing it with them. So right now at the middle school, our windows in our library are full of clay art that they've created. And we've had masks, we've had all kinds of things. And sustainable technology. So this is another class that is held over at the high school, and our students are building, they're learning how to work with tools safely. They're applying, again, all of those math, science, mostly math and science, but reading and social studies skills to create projects. And they have created bat boxes, they've created salmon boxes, as you can see, bird houses. There's a variety of things. And so they learn about the reason that those things are needed, and then they use all of that learning along with their math skills to create these different projects and learn how to use the tools safely and effectively. And so here's just some of our students using the equipment in our high school shop classes to create projects. So I want to make sure, so all of the information that I just showed you was our students having opportunities to use hands-on to apply all of their skills. And I'll talk about that for just a second, a little bit more. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I say that everything that we do for our kids, it is a group effort, it's a community effort. It definitely takes a village. And so on top of our teachers, these are just a few of the organizations that help support us, besides the groups that were also in the presentation. So I talked about like WSU, for example, and there's so many, there's no way that I would be able to put them all up here, but I wanted to specifically talk about these, our support staff that provides that social emotional support for our kids to help them each day. And then these organizations that also help provide that extra, that extra thing that our students may need. So Summit Pacific, behavioral health resources, our backpack food program that we have lots of students. I think we're up to about 25 students who get weekend food bags. The Elma Flight Foundation, who provides us with numerous ways that they support us, but one of the ways is our needy student money to help our kiddos. And then also Invest Ed, our secretary, Miss Ferrier, makes sure that we apply for the Invest Ed grant every year. And that provides additional support for our students, financial support for our students to be able to do things. So if they want to play a sport and they can't afford the shoes, for example, Invest Ed enables us to be able to support those kids and get them the supplies that they need. And so those are just a few. So now that I've talked about that, I want to go back to the mastery piece. And so all of the point of showing you all of this is to let you know that we are working on building our capacity to allow our students to show that they have mastered the content in a variety of ways, and to give them some ownership in how they show us that they've mastered that. So a student, if a student is gifted in writing and they prefer to write, then they can write. If they are gifted in art, they have opportunities to show mastery in art. So there's a variety of ways that students can show us that they have mastered the content, and we are continuing to build those opportunities for our kids. And as we get better about learning about ways to master the content, then we help show our students a variety of ways so we can give them more and more options. And last but not least, it's working. So we still have room to grow as always, but we focus on growth with our students. And so as adults, we have to remember to focus on growth also. So this is just we switched our assessment this year to ready assessments. That way we are aligned with what the elementary school is using, so that assessment data goes with them all the way up through the middle school. And so this is just the difference that our students have grown from the beginning of the year until we tested in September, and we tested again in January. And our students showing us how they're progressing so that we can target the skills that they still need. And that's all I have. Any questions?
I have one really quick question. Just when you were talking about the babysitting certificates, I oftentimes see kids on social media marketing themselves for babysitting jobs and that they're have these certificates. What exactly does that look like? I'm just curious.
We're still learning.
Okay.
We're still learning. And we're still learning about what all it will take. That's one of the things that we are sending our staff to, so that they can be those trainers, so we can offer that training in-house to
Gotcha.
our students. We know that a lot of our students take care of their siblings before they start babysitting. So we want to give them the skills to do that, and so that they feel confident doing that. And CPR being just one of the major ones. And so it's one of the things that we're learning about. So our hope is, and we're hoping to have it in place by the end of this year, but if not, by the beginning of next year, so that we can offer it to all of our students at the middle school. So they have an opportunity to be babysitting certified, so they have those skills. But we're still learning what all that entails.
Yeah.
Our staff has attended one training already, and there's another one coming.
Thank you. I think it's a great tool for some of these kids, like
Yeah.
you mentioned, the siblings.
Yeah, we think so too, that, a lot of our kids babysit, and we just want them to feel confident in whatever it is that they're doing.
Ms. Ferry, I noticed the virtual reality goggles in there. I didn't even know our district had those, but what class is that typically used in, and how many do we have in
So,
our district?
yeah, so I was just talking to Eric about it, and so it's becoming more and more complicated because they're changing all of the requirements for it. But right now it's in our 6th grade science class, and I believe she has a class set up.
Just to piggyback off of that, I noticed that picture also, and the look on her face with her mouth open, it was like, I want to know what she was looking at. You could just tell that.
So I can tell you just one of them that I was looking at most recently was they were learning about the layers of the rainforest. And so there is a program where it's basically like you're walking through the rainforest. And of course, with virtual reality, you can go from toe to ceiling and get a little bit of an experience like you're standing in the rainforest, so that you can see it while you're learning about the rainforest. And so you can learn about all the layers and where the animals live and all that kind of stuff, the ecosystems, to use my science
That's
vocabulary.
That's cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Moving on to communications and comments. Do we have anybody from ETO? EESP? ECOPA? Admin? Persons to be heard or public comment? Good news?
Yeah, actually, I said it earlier under Peggy Tyner's hiring, but I just want to say that she's just done an absolute incredible job on restructuring our school lunches. Bill Hoppliger, our high school principal over there, met with the student leadership team, and they laid out some of the things that they'd like to see changed, and Peggy was super responsive. So I'm just really happy with the positive movement that we are making. So then this next week, Elma School District will be presenting to the National School Boards Association on how we restructured using data. And then on March 31st, we were asked to present to the Washington State Superintendents Association on how the Elma School District is now using data. So I'm really proud that Elma is now stacking up as a statewide leader and a national leader on how we use data. Sunshine showed you some of our data. And I think our next data summit is coming up soon on how we are using data to show student growth. So, anyway, so those are some good things going on. Oh, and Eric Smith did get to meet with Senator Patty Murray last week, and Elma was a voice at the federal level for technology used to support students. Last, we are on track to pass our levy. So
That's great.
that is great news. We're really appreciative of our community coming out and support. So we're currently at 53%. The next vote will be tomorrow at 4. The next count will be tomorrow at 4.
Oh, that's good news.
Can you clarify back to the mill or the mini revamping? Is that reflective of middle school and elementary as well? Or is that a high school?
It will be representative of all grade levels. I think right now we're working on pushing out the 2 entrees through all grade levels. So it should eventually be to a point. Greg, maybe you can answer this. Are we doing 2 entrees yet at the elementary school or not yet? So the plan is to be doing multiple entrees for the elementary schools. One of the issues that this is where Peggy's just done an incredible job is you do have a limitation on what's being delivered. There's still the supply chain backup, but Peggy's a pretty creative thinker. So instead of just serving one entree, the same entree, and waiting until you had 1,500 of that entree, she's diversified the entree that we're providing to students. So, we're getting enough, not enough for one complete meal, but instead she set it up where we're giving students choices and options. So, and that will be eventually working its way to all grade levels.
Nice. Thank you.
All right, moving on. Work study, don't have anything. Unfinished business. The approval of CBRE agreement.
This is our contract. This will include the site survey, seismic study, and the long-range facility pre-bond planning work. Again, pre-bond does not mean that we have a bond planned. It just means that we are now studying. So I guess I could have added that. We did have Phil Crocker from CBRE and Teeter Crocker in yesterday for studying the high school. So our plan is still to move forward with a community long-range facilities beginning in April. We are going to begin doing some work to recruit community members. But we did have our first engineering site review yesterday. So then that way, when our community group comes together, they have some data to work from. But this is the finished contract for the agreement. And it was updated because we had to include the seismic study now, since we are so close to the seismic induction zone. So you'll see that the additions of the seismic review.
Chris, do we need to approve each one separately, each contract separately, or can we approve them together?
I think you can approve them together. I
Okay,
looked at what was attached. I think they both look like the same contract as attached. So it looks like it's just there twice.
That's just on different pages, it looks like, so.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the CBRE agreement.
I'll second that.
A motion has been made and seconded for the approval of the CBRE agreement. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business, approval of out-of-area teaching assignment for Travis Finfrock.
We just periodically, whenever we have a teachers start of the new semester, teaching outside of where their area of certification, and it's not uncommon that we're pretty small, a smaller size district that we have to have a teacher periodically teach outside of the area. So we just asked that to approve Mr. Finfrock on teaching the additional math classes.
I move for the approval of out-of-area teaching assignment for Travis Finfrock.
I'll second it.
There's been a motion made and seconded for the approval of out-of-area teaching assignment for Travis Finfrock. Any further discussion?
All opposed?
I have some discussion. So on Mr. Finfrock, what is his bachelor's degree in? Can you recall?
Well, I don't know what his bachelor's degree is in. I know he's certified in, is it middle level math? And what we're looking for now is he's picking up some additional math classes that are beyond, I think he can teach up through 9th grade. We're asking for some additional math courses beyond that 9th grade level until he can sit for the test. But because the test has been in person, it's been being pushed back. So we are asking to have Mr. Finfrock approved so he can teach the integrated geometry and statistics until he can get in and sit for the state test. He's already done the state prep. He's already done the testing prep. So that's really what we're waiting for him.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure because I want to ensure that our students are getting the most qualified person to educate them. So.
Yep, totally, completely, totally reasonable. It was our hope that Mr. Finfrock would have had the taken the way you add an endorsement is you sit for the West D exam. You sit for the West D exam and you get endorsements put on to show that you have the content level knowledge. Because of all of our COVID restrictions, those West D exams have been being pushed back. So currently Mr. Finfrock is just waiting to sit for the test. And then he would have the endorsements.
Okay. One small point of clarity. It is for both semesters. He did take leave for most of the first semester, but this includes sections in the first semester as well.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Reports.
Well, I think we did have some protesters, and I just wanted to kind of add that we completely and totally support students in their First Amendment rights. Just a clarification on it, students are completely and totally to protest on campus before school, after school, and during lunch. During the school day, though, we do have to have students protest off campus because we have to have students in class, and we do have to mark students as absent from class. There's no further any kind of other discipline or anything. It's just as a school district, we are tasked with the safety of all students. So when parents bring their students to school and expect their students to be in class, we are trusted with those students. It's known as loco and parentis. So when students are not in class, they're not aware that we've made that agreement with the parent where those students would be. So the parents have the ability to excuse the absence. Otherwise, we do have to mark it as a truancy if it goes in as not unexcused for not being in class. And then protests can go on, but they need to go on off campus because, again, we cannot be held responsible for the students when we can only be held responsible for their ability to be in class. And this really just comes down to a safety liability aspect. On if a student is on our campus, but they're not in class, we don't have the capacity to monitor the safety of those students, but the state does expect us to monitor the safety of those students. So beyond that, we fully support all First Amendment rights. There was an update from the governor today, and again, the decision is going to be pushed out another week. So I think we're all hoping for a return to normalcy. I think every single one of us is hoping for a return to normalcy, even myself with foggy glasses through most of this meeting. I'm really hopeful for a return to normalcy. And the state has doubled down on the clarification that all of our state funding, every single penny of it, hangs on our ability to follow through with the governor's mask mandates. So we're just doing everything we need to do to keep our doors open for families. That's our goal.
I know this might be a silly question, but I'm going to throw it out there just because. So when the mandates are lifted, which I'm hopeful that they will be lifted at some point.
At some
I'm hopeful.
Let's say the soon point.
We're still going to have those kids that are going to want to wear their masks.
Yes.
We are going to allow that to happen.
Yes,
Okay.
students who want to wear a mask still have the right to wear a mask. We can't take that away.
Okay.
But I do want to add that there's multiple layers to this. The governor could release the governor's mask mandate, and then a mask mandate can still exist within Grace Harbor Public Health. And then we still have to follow a local county mandate. Otherwise, the state can still, withhold our state funding. And again, if we can't pay our teachers, you don't really have teachers. I think most people have a job. Most people can say, my employer's not going to pay me. I'm probably not going to go to work. I feel most of our employees in the Elma School District feel the same way. So we are dependent upon that. It's commonly stated that local school boards have local control, and I always like to relate it to, it's in the same way that my 8th grade daughter has the ability to choose to or not do her homework. She can choose to not do her homework. And I can say you have a choice to not do her homework, but the consequences dad's going to give her is not going to be really very fun. So at the end of the day, we kind of really know that my 8th grade daughter really did not have a choice in not doing her homework. And it's kind of the same thing. Grace Harbor Public Health can say we had a choice. We can choose to not follow the rule and lose all of our state funding and have all of our doors closed forever. You know, or we can choose to do what they say. So there is other layers. So my concern is, what are the additional layers beyond the governor's mandate? And will it get pushed down to Grace Harbor Public Health? What will their controls be?
And the timeline that it will take to roll through all of those pieces, right?
So school districts have been put on the forefront to answer for a lot of decisions we haven't made. And in all my meetings with school superintendents in the state, I would say I think every school superintendent and principal is kind of tired of being told, and boards have been are pretty fatigued on being told to answer for decisions that have been outside of our control.
So when you say outside of our control, I mean, obviously we get hammered all the time. The board does in regards to the masks, and that we have control and we can say, you know, take them off, whatever.
Well,
It goes-
you have the ability to say that with the acknowledgement that we would lose every single penny of our state funding.
Right, but when you say that it goes to the local level of our health official, who oversees that?
County commissioners.
The county
So the
commissioners.
county commissioners, there's a county board tied to the county commissioners who oversees the Grace Harbor Public Health Department.
So the county commissioners could actually put the pressure on the health.
Well, I can't really answer too much
Okay.
politically, right?
Yeah.
We try to stay apolitical. Just can answer more, I wouldn't say pressure, but and just answer a process.
Gotcha.
But I do want to say that even after the governor, we will have a trickle down effect.
Yeah.
We don't know what that'll be either.
But it helps to understand the process.
But I think our staff, our administrators are ready to get our students back to a level of normal.
And would you say about 3/4 of our annual budget does come directly from the state? And then the remaining quarter comes from our local.
85% of our budget comes from the state and federal funding.
Okay.
15% of our budget comes from local funding. So we would lose 85% of our funding. And then the 15% of our budget is restricted to, like, our levy does fund like after school activities. So core teaching, the core of our operations comes from that state and federal money. So no, we would not be able to run a school. We made a promise in August. What is the goal? We said we were going to keep school open every single day for the students in the Elma School District. We've made good on that promise. We have not shut, and that has been thankful to the work of our teachers, our administrators. Like, our people have worked hard to keep our doors open, like really, really, really hard, and our people are really, really tired. And that's really what we've used a lot of our ESSER money, the federal relief money. It's been paid to cover the extreme cost of substitutes as teachers have been being pushed into quarantining, right? Close contact quarantining still impacts our employees. They're being sent home just as often as students are being sent home. It's covering all of the PPE, the masking, the testing, everything the state has required, we've had to buy. And that has just gone into making sure we can keep our doors open. So the big question is, where's that federal relief money gone? It's what we've used to keep our doors open. It's been a very hard process where we have 300 employees in the Elma School District, and every single one of those 300 employees has worked hard to keep our doors open.
And we see that and we appreciate that.
But I'm really, really, really proud of the work our people have done. Really proud.
Absolutely.
I know this goes with it, but I think that also is acknowledging an entire group of parents who have rallied and sucked it up, but significant of like, okay, I'll take my kid back for 5 days, you know, and without, you know, that system's not in place for, and I feel like as a whole, you know, I see this with the daycare and they're really actually paying very directly, but parents have really understood, I feel like have stepped up greatly of the sacrifice that it takes to keep exposed kids or positive kids out, to be able to minimize our impact. I think that's one of the reasons that we really have been able to stay open, is the community has really cooperated with the rules that we are having to follow.
Community really has, because if we had our students say, I'm not going to wear a mask, the state would come back and say, well, then you have to quarantine longer, or you have to do this longer, or you have to do this longer. Bluntly, I absolutely hate wearing this mask like right now. I hate everything there is about it. But I'm going to do everything I need to do to keep students in school every single day. So
Yeah.
it's been a lot of there's a lot of grit from our families, everybody.
There's a lot of grit from the students too, because
Yeah.
they're just as frustrated as the rest, but I think, yeah, it's important to be keeping these, I know we're going into playoffs for basketball, and it's very important to these boys that they're keeping these masks on, or any of the kids that are in any of the extracurricular stuff right now. That's
And
extremely
I
important.
hate to say out of touch decision making, but we were doing 2-day-a-week testing for athletes. We're told if athletes want to play, we have to test them. Great, we're going to do whatever we need to do to keep our kids out there, right? We're trying to not impact the student lives. And the state came back and said, we're going to make your lives easier. You only need to test on match days. We're like, we have 6 days a week of match days. Like, we have something going on every day of the week and on Saturday. So we only had to test 2 days a week. Now you're going to make our lives easier by only testing 6 days a week. So there's a complete total misunderstanding of what schools actually do, and the decisions being made are being made by people who don't understand what we do. So and that was really evident when they were really happy about the decision. They really thought they helped us out. Like, there was a really big belief of, hey, we're helping the schools out. You only have to test students on the days they compete. Well, like, basketball has can have 3 competitions a week. Like, well,
Yeah,
just
it's
increased
nonstop.
everything.
Right?
So I think that really goes into it. It's not malintented people. It's just it's just a huge gap in understanding.
So, yeah, we fully agree with you that this will be nice when it's
Can I just
somewhat of normalcy comes back.
throw out one more positive shout out? The public testing has been,
Yes.
it was truly like for us, being able to stay open, having a spot to refer families and to get results in 15 minutes has been the lifesaver, I think, at large. So if that's Caleb, and I'm not sure what all team, but that has been an amazing resource to be able to refer families to, and for families to stay functioning of that turnaround.
That came out really positive. That was a decision we made because we knew we couldn't get our hands on enough tests to keep our athletes playing sports. And if we didn't have enough COVID tests, we would have to tell our own athletes, well, sorry, you don't get to play basketball this weekend because the entire state ran out of COVID tests. So we had the ability to partner with Grace Harbor Public Health to do the testing. And we signed on because we knew it'd be a way to get our own athletes tested. It would be like a good backup plan. And in the beginning, we figured it would just be pretty much just our athletes because there was so much community testing going on. We did not count on the fact that that would become the only testing we had in the area. And then it ended up becoming a huge community service. So candidly, we did it as a way to keep our own athletes participating. But then when we started getting the huge community response, we had to do a lot of moving. So it was decided to keep, so we didn't have to close our own programs. And then we had to adjust the locations where they were when we found out that we were the testing location.
I think it's been a significant help for the community at large.
Thank you.
Thank
Caleb
you.
did
Good
a
work
great
by
job.
everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. Thank you.
And I like how you said it. It's, if we had our own decisions to make personally, then our decisions may be easier, but the understanding that our commitment is to keep all of our students in school every day, it makes it challenging, and we've had to make some difficult decisions that because our hand is forced, so to speak. So But again, I just want to thank all the staff for all the work that they've done to keep our doors open and our students getting educated, and allowing, because I keep track of other districts and, and some of them have not been as fortunate as we have to keep our activities and our doors open every day, for in-person learning. And, so again, I'm just hats off to all of our staff and our community.
Shout out to the bus drivers.
Yeah.
Bus drivers, yeah.
Transportation's been amazing. So,
I can't help but think too, moving, as this moves forward, the social emotional part of things, even though it's going to be a good thing for many of us to remove the masks, it's going to be a scary thing for some of these kids also when these masks start getting removed and they don't want to remove theirs. So I think we need to be conscientious of that also going forward, because every kid deserves to feel safe in the schools.
Yeah, I
Whether
think-
we agree with it or not, I think everybody needs to feel safe.
I have a 10-year-old daughter. This has been 20% of her life. And I really feel like we need to remember the significance of the impact on the lives of our students.
Right.
Like I said, there's a lot of things, I say I agree with, a lot of things I don't agree with, but we do think the safest thing is to keep them here. And now we're going to have to get ready to adjust to this new transition to normal, because we talked about going back to normal, but we've got second graders who've never experienced normal.
Absolutely. So. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
It's Delaney's turn.
Delaney, are you with us?
Hi, yes, I am.
Welcome.
All right. So, Jamie, I really liked what you said just now about that a lot of students may be struggling to take the masks off. I know in many cases for me, it's felt like a nice safety net, days I might be breaking out or, it just feels like a nice safety net to have. And I know that a lot of kids may also kind of struggle with, when, it's safe to actually take those masks off. So just really kind of repeating what you said, just being aware that some kids are going to struggle with that. And we just need to be aware of that and just be understanding of that. We recently started third quarter and our second semester, which is crazy because I can't believe the year has gone by this fast already. It feels like we just started school. I can't believe it's already February. So, I mean, that's just crazy. I really, really enjoyed the presentation about the middle school. I really loved having these presentations at the school board meetings with like the middle school and the elementary school and just seeing what's going on there because, I'm not there. And so it's really nice to see what it is that's happening. It kind of makes me miss going to those schools. I think it's really great with all the stuff that they're doing there for all those kids there, especially because like you guys have said, so many of those kids that are so much younger haven't gotten to experience the normal that we've gotten to experience. And so seeing the stuff that they get to do really makes it better, for them. I'm excited to meet with Mr. Nesmith on Friday. I have some really interesting ideas, or I think that they're interesting, that I think would be fun to bring to our district. So I'm really excited to meet with him on Friday to talk about those and then hopefully be able to report back to you guys at our next meeting about what we talked about. So as an FFA officer, I'm excited to, say that we're going to the middle school. We go to the middle school almost every year to talk to the 8th graders about CTE classes and things like that. This year, I'm excited to go and just talk to them as people. Middle school isn't, the most fun time ever. Middle school is hard for a lot of kids. And so I'm excited to be able to go and talk to them as people while also showing them, there's some fun things to look forward to. It's not all scary and it does get better. And so kind of wrapping it up, really just be kind to each other, treat each other well. You never know anything remotely close to what someone else is going through. And so just really kind of being aware of that you don't know and just being kind to everyone no matter what, because, sometimes they need it. So, if you like someone's shoes, tell them you like their shoes. It always makes you feel better and it can really make someone's day when they need it. So yeah, that's all I have for today.
And Delaney, anytime you'd like to meet, we can
Okay.
Delaney, I just want to say real quick, I know Bernadette said it in the past, and I know everybody agrees, but you can't see our smiles, but you bring a smile to our face.
She might get to see our smile
She might get to.
soon, maybe.
But you're always so positive and you have such a unique look on things. You are wiser beyond your years. So I appreciate you.
Hopefully I'll be there with you guys next time in person. I had no idea that you guys were going to be in person, but next time, hopefully I'll be able to be with you guys.
I'd say we'd save you a cupcake, but they might be gone by then.
That's okay.
It was on purpose, so we didn't have to share the cupcakes. I'm just-
But we definitely look forward to seeing you in person. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you guys too.
All right. That wraps.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Well,
We
can't adjourn
can't-
yet.
we're not
We have to
done.
go to executive session, so my
I don't
recommendation
see
would
that
be,
on the list.
It's yeah,
Keep scrolling, it's there.
Oh, it's all the way down. Okay.
yeah.
my recommendation would be we recess for 7 minutes and then we begin executive session at 7 p.m.
Okay.
Okay,
I was thinking you were wanting me to adjourn.
and then
That way we have 7 minutes to eat cupcakes.
do we, I'm sorry, maybe it started there, but do we need to announce how long we'll be in
Yeah,
executive?
we'll be in executive session for 30 minutes. We'll come out at 7:30.
Okay, that's.
Do we need a motion for that? Or we're
No.
good? Okay, just pause.
I know.
There's gotta be a way. We'll let them do it. Yeah.
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
Got a motion made and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks for attending.